What's up, legends? Today we are going to be answering a bunch of viewer questions that you guys send in, and while we do so, I thought we would open up this Evolving Skies booster box, which was actually given to me by Danny Phantom. I recently won one of his giveaways, so thank you so much, Danny, for sending this to me. And by the way, if you guys haven't yet checked out Danny Phantom on YouTube, make sure you do so. But we are going to be answering a bunch of your questions that were on your mind related to the hobby and related to other stuff as well, so let's get into it. Now, if it's your first time here, my name is Luke, and after 20 years, I got back into collecting Pokemon cards to chase that feeling of nostalgia from my childhood. So I invite you to come along the journey with me by hitting that subscribe button below. Let's get right into our packs and right into our questions. Our first one comes from a user named Outer. He asks, what are my top 3 favorite Pokemon? And man, it's tough. I may actually have to give you my top 5 because sometimes I go back and forth even between the third one, but so I would say number 1, many of you who've been watching me for a while probably know that my favorite of all time is Dragonite. Second favorite, I would have to go with Raichu. Yes, I do like Raichu more than Pikachu personally. Probably even like Pichu slightly more than Pikachu. Now, again, like I said, number 3 is a little tough, but I think right now, number 3, I would have to go with Blastoise. Blastoise, of course, one of the original starters. Hypno for the reverse here, and Gilgath. Yeah, I would say that most often I would either choose Squirtle or Charmander, but I probably chose Squirtle the most, I think, because, I mean, I just love the blues. I love the water types. So yeah, Blastoise, definitely underrated in my opinion. Charizard gets a lot of the attention, but I personally think Blastoise is great. And of course, he's even on the cover of the original games. And so then number 4 right now, and you know, like I said, 3 and 4 kind of get swapped often. I would probably go with Espeon. It's currently my favorite evolution. Used to be Flareon. I still do love Flareon, but ever since I pulled the Espeon shiny from my first Hidden Fates tins, I don't know, something about it. Just fell in love with Espeon, which of course most of these Pokemon that are my favorites are from Gen 1, but Espeon, one of the few from Gen 2 that I hold in high regard. And I would say number 5 is Charizard. Yeah, guys, I do still love Charizard. Not only to chase in the cards, but yeah, I just think it's just a cool Pokemon. Again, still one of the other starters that I would start with in the games. And I just think, yeah, Charizard is awesome. No ands, buts, or something about that. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Looks like we got a Metachan V, ands, ifs, or buts, something like that. All right, we will go ahead and put a sleeve on Metachan. Is your full job being a YouTuber? And if not, what do you do for work? That's a very great question. So I am not a full-time YouTuber. Definitely don't make enough for that at this time. It would be cool though. Definitely enjoyable. Although, you know, one could argue, you know, this is my hobby and maybe it's best to stay that way. If it becomes all about the money, then it might kind of ruin it. It might kind of start to make this a grind and not really enjoyable. But anyway, so yes, on top of YouTube, I actually, a few years ago, started my own business doing web design and branding, such as logo design and other graphic design like that. And, oh nice, Hollow Moltres. I've actually never pulled that before. So I did that for a few years, and definitely it's tough starting your own business, but went out and did it. Did a lot of networking, you know, built up a client base over time. But all that to say, actually, while I was still doing that, I actually met a friend of a friend, actually a friend of my brother's, who was a part of a startup. Got to know him a little bit, And I was actually creating video content for my business. I have another YouTube channel where I was doing that. He actually saw those videos and he asked me if I would make a promo video for the business. The business is called Subtitle. It's basically an app that helps you add subtitles and captions to your videos, and you can, make your videos look like Gary V's typical looking video with a square and the captions on the bottom and the headline on the top. So he asked me to make that promo video for him, even though I'd never done that before. He hired me to do that. Soon after that, I was also hired by them to do their branding, and then I also started doing marketing for them on an ongoing basis. And because they were a startup, they did have a limited budget. And after a while, I just came to really enjoy the product, love the product, saw a lot of potential in the video marketing space, and I kind of asked if they would be open to taking on any more partners, and turns out they were. So I actually joined up that startup, and I became a partner. Worked for free for quite a long time, but now I am one of the owners of the business, and so that's kind of what I do when I'm not making Pokemon card videos, just helping on the marketing side of that company, trying to build it, find new features we need to add to it, and things like that. Altaria, all right. So yeah, not a full-time YouTuber yet, but that's what I do for work, and I do enjoy it. I definitely enjoy entrepreneurship, and I think there's a lot of cool things about it, and I love the flexibility that it gives me, which is part of what gives me some extra time to go hunting and make these videos here. So that's a blessing. All right, on to the next question, which is, what days do I normally go hunting for Pokemon cards? So it definitely depends. It's changed over time. More recently, I've been going most often on Wednesdays because there's often a restock at my local Target on Wednesdays. Sometimes I'll also check Walgreens on those days because they usually restock late on Tuesdays, I think. So yeah, I do try and figure out when the restock days are and go around those times. And then Thursday would be another one because in my area there are a few Walmarts and even a Target that get a restock on that day. Now, of course, they don't get a restock every week, but that seems to be when that vendor will show up and stock the shelves. So that's when I like to go out. I think occasionally I'll go out on Friday because that's usually the more safe day. There's a lot of more stores that will restock on Friday, I found. And if you're not sure when your stores restock, especially Walmart, I think Friday's a pretty good day to check. There's a good chance you'll find something. So I don't go on Fridays as often as I used to, but sometimes I will. Litleo, Cutiefly, Hitmonchan, Sableye, Reverse Lombre, and a Wishy-Washy. So Shivam Argawal, hopefully I'm not butchering anybody's name here. He asks, or she, maybe it's a she, I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know in the comments below. How do you decide which single cards to grade and for what company? Would you wait longer till the fees on grading come down? Definitely a good question, and I'm not a grading expert, but I have done a lot of research, and so I'll share at least my perspective on this, and based on the perspective on a lot of other people, I believe. So how do you decide which single cards to grade? Well, I think that depends on your goals for one thing. If your goal is just to collect the card, if you just like having that encased and you like having a grade on it, you just like the look of it in your collection, then it really doesn't matter what the card is. You can grade virtually any card. But if we're talking from the perspective of wanting to increase the value of a card in your collection, and maybe even invest in it or flip it, then that's definitely a different question. And in general, you want to just make sure that I think if you were to sell the card, just thinking about the value of the card after it were to get graded, does it actually makes sense after you factor in all of the costs to grade the card, to possibly buy the card, to ship the card back to you, all that stuff. Because sometimes it actually is cheaper just to buy the card already graded. But I would say, you know, a lot of the chase cards are usually fair game, especially if it's like around the $100 mark of a set. You know, there's a ton of cards in this set that could easily be great grading candidates because they're already worth a lot. But if you get, you know, a grade in a 9 or a 10, you could easily increase the value quite a bit. Oh wow, we got another Galarian Moltres. Literally, I've never pulled this card. We got 2 of them. So that's kind of how you may want to think about it from a financial standpoint. If you're just looking to flip it, actually there's a video that I put out just recently where I talk a little bit more about that. You may want to check out that video for a better explanation on that side of things. But again, you just want to look at your costs and see if by grading it, you can actually increase the value of it. And of course, there's always a gamble. You know, you're still at the mercy of the person's opinion who's grading it. And if they're having a bad day, you know, sometimes you're out of luck. If they're having a good day, sometimes you get a higher grade than what you really deserve. So it's a little bit of a gamble, just like opening packs, honestly. So you just have to keep that in mind. Got a Lilligant non-holo rare. Now, as far as which grading company you go with, again, it does depend on your goals. So for me personally, I recently graded for the first time with Beckett, and that's because after thinking through it a lot, I just realized that if I want the card in my collection for a long time, I want to be able to enjoy it. And I personally don't really enjoy PSA or CGC labels. I don't really like how they look, but I like the Beckett slabs. And so I decided that that's what I was going to go with. So for whatever's in your collection, I would say go with whatever one you like the best. Now, if you also want them to retain some value long term, you may still want to go with one of those big 3 that I just mentioned, PSA, CGC, or Beckett. But for your personal collection, I think you have a little bit of a choice there. Now, if you're looking to get the most value out of it, there's a lot of things actually to consider. And again, I'm not exactly an expert on this, but I'll try and break it down a little bit the way I think about it. Yeah, if you're wanting to get the most value out of it to flip or just to hold long term, then you do need to do some research into the comps of the card and see how much the card is selling for in each of those different grades and each of those different slabs, because it will vary. Oftentimes, for instance, a PSA 10 will command a higher value often than a CGC 10, but not always. It just depends. Now, a CGC Perfect 10 would actually probably command more value than a PSA 10, and of course, a Black Label 10 will command more value than either of those. If you think your card has a chance of getting a 9, you probably do want to go with PSA over CGC. But then again, you know, Beckett, if you get a 9.5, it's probably better than a PSA 9. Got a holo Zygarde. So I would say there really is no one better option. I think PSA is by far the most popular, but as you probably know, there's been a big backlog, and so people have been waiting ages to get their cards back. And if you're someone who's also trying to turn around and sell that card, that's not going to really work for you. You may want to go with an option that actually is going to get your card back in a semi-desirable slab in a decent amount of time, for which, you know, CGC might be a better option more recently because their pricing is pretty reasonable. They are fast, and people do enjoy that company. Not everybody does. I would say there's more people that actually collect PSA, but I feel like CGC is taking some market share. Spirit Mask, and we got Gorgeist. Man, not getting a ton of ultra rares so far. So yeah, like I said, I'm not an expert, and it's also a very tough question to answer because it's very situational based on what your goals are. And to the second part of the question, would you wait longer until grading fees go down? I guess that just depends on how patient you're willing to be. Now, if you're trying to flip the card and make a quick buck, then you probably don't want to wait for that, because the values of those cards may go down in the next 6 months that it might take you to get a PSA card back. But if you're willing to be patient and you really like PSA slabs, you like cards graded in PSA, then yeah, I mean, I think you can wait around and possibly get a better price for them. Now, of course, there's also no guarantee that PSA will lower their prices much more than they already have. I think they used to have some pretty cheap prices, like $8 or $10. There's no guarantee we'll ever even get back to that point, because the hobby has grown quite a bit, but it might. Just depends on, are you willing to wait around for that? Oh, nice. We got the Flareon VMAX. Not bad. Cool card for sure. Next, Azazel asks, what card sleeves do I use? And actually, I use a combination of sleeves. And actually, before I open this, I'll just show you. So I actually use some Perfect Fit sleeves. They kind of look like this. I get them on Amazon. They are this Japanese company, but love the quality of them. They really fit like a glove. Let me just, you've already seen me sleeve these up, but let me just show you how perfectly these fit. Put them in like that, and there you go. I love the way these feel like this, and oftentimes I'll just slide them like this into a binder if it's not too expensive of a card. And to address another question, probably the most frequent question I get on this channel is, why do I sleeve my cards upside down? And the reason for that is because I will often double sleeve my bigger hits. Like for instance, this Charizard right here. I'm actually out of these sleeves, but I'm going to just show you an example. So I also use the Dragon Shield Clear Classic sleeves. And yeah, for something like this, you'll see that there are 2 sleeves on there. So I've got my Perfect Fit sleeves, and with just a little bit of pressure, not too much, you can fit them both. You can fit them like a glove in there, the Dragon Shield, and I just love this look to them, and just gives them extra protection on the top and the bottom. So that's the reason for the double, or that's the reason for sleeving it upside down. It is now protected on the top and on the bottom. And of course, whether if you're just sliding it into like a slot, like a Vault X binder, it just goes in the side. And so, yeah, it honestly doesn't even matter. Like even if you're just using, if I'm just sleeving it upside down in the Perfect Fit sleeve, it still kind of does the job like that. And by the way, both of those sleeves are linked in the description below, which is an Amazon affiliate link. So if you decide to buy them, definitely use that link. I would really appreciate it, because it does support the channel a little bit. All right, next pack. And we got another question from Rock Sandy, another great Pokemon YouTuber. Go check him out if you haven't already. He asks, do you think Pokemon will have another boom like it did in 2020? Man, that is a tough one. That's a really good one, though. You guys come in here with some really great questions. And so here's the way I'm thinking about this. 2020 was really the perfect storm for the Pokemon card and even, collectible hobby in general, for a lot of reasons. Obviously, the pandemic happened. You had a lot of people who were stuck indoors and needed something to do. And oftentimes they were just sitting around on their phone, and all of a sudden up comes a video from Logan Paul, or maybe a Facebook ad or something like that, which showed Pokemon cards. And for those who are in their 30s right now, that means that you were around of the original Pokemon boom, the original hype when this first came out. And so first of all, you had a bunch of people sitting around needing something to do, and this was kind of a nice little hobby that you could kind of pick up during that time. You also had a bunch of people who were very nostalgic for this IP, all of a sudden have some disposable income to put towards it. Of course, first of all, a lot of us were actually old enough now to have a disposable income, so that's part of it. And then you also have all those stimulus checks that were sent out here in the US. Now, of course, hopefully you use that to, give give yourself a little bit of a boost if you were having a tough time financially, but maybe there were a lot of people who weren't really having a tough time financially who just used their checks on Pokemon cards. They had a lot of disposable income based on that, and also based on the fact that we weren't going out spending it at restaurants, at bars, going golfing, whatever it is you did before you were forced to be inside all the time. So, do I think that there will be another Pokemon boom similar to 2020? I mean, I personally don't think there will ever be one that's quite this big, just because it was really the perfect storm. Of course, there was also influencers like Logan Paul who kind of got into it and also brought a lot of attention to things. However, it's not the only boom that has happened. And do I think we'll have another boom eventually? Yeah, I do think that we may. Obviously Pokemon Go was a big one back in 2016. Not only did people get back into Pokemon in general, they got back into the cards as a result. Pretty sure XY Evolutions came out around that time, so people had a cool set to get into the hobby for. So I've been trying to think through this, and I have put a good bit of thought into this. What would it take for Pokemon to kind of explode again? I think the next one that I could see more realistically happening, aside from just another influencer getting into it, is I've heard talks that Netflix may be developing a live-action Pokemon TV show. And I think if that happens, I could definitely see people getting into the cards again. Obviously we did have the Detective Pikachu movie that came out a few years ago, and honestly, I thought it was okay. I'm kind of like baffled at why that was the main that was the main movie that came out in live action. I don't know, it just didn't seem like the right choice. Like, it seemed like the sort of movie that would come out, maybe 10 years after a new cinematic universe for Pokemon had already begun. Like, I almost feel like that would belong in like the phase 4 or phase 5 of the MCU, for instance, not the very first Pokemon live action movie. And so I think that movie did okay. I think some people liked it, but I don't think it did as good as it could have. And I see why. I feel like it just it didn't really make sense. Like, there should have been literally a show or a movie that's about the original characters, Ash or Red, whoever you want to call him, Misty, Brock, Team Rocket, all of the favorite characters that we know and love. Like, I've thought about this even since I remember being in like middle school and having those thoughts like, man, they really need to have a live action Pokemon series someday, or Pokemon movie. And so we still haven't seen, I think, the best version of that. So if that were to happen, I think that would bring a lot of people back into the hobby. Now here's a question that I really like, and this comes from Luke Crawford. He says, "Hey Luke, my question is, when did you become a Christian?" So, I actually became a quote-unquote Christian when I was 5 years old. Now, I will say, I actually don't love the term Christian. The term I would prefer is Christ follower, because that's really what it is. And I feel like the term Christian is often associated with religion. And Christianity, or what I call following Christ, was never meant to be religion. In the Bible, Jesus was actually the one bucking up against the religious system. And the whole point of his message was that it's not about what you do. It's not about trying to earn your approval from God. It's all about what Jesus has done. And so basically, when I was 5 years old, I got into fights with my younger brother quite a lot. But there was one particular time where I got into a fight with my brother, and I felt really bad about it. My mom sat me down and just explained that there's a reason that we feel bad when we do wrong things. And, we all do things that are wrong, and these are things that actually God hates. God hates sin. He hates the things that hurt other people. He hates, essentially, you know, what causes pain in the world. But we all do it. We all do wrong things. And so what I learned is that even though that's the case, you know, there's nothing that we can do because of it to actually earn his approval and go to heaven and to live forever. Otherwise, our punishment is eternal death. But my mom explained that the gift of God through Jesus is eternal life. The Bible says that God loved the world so much that he gave his son to die for us, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. And guys, it's not just about what you do, although when you come to know Christ, he actually works in you and makes you a better person in the process. But that's not really what he's concerned about. What he's concerned about is relationship. And so, yeah, this whole Christianity thing, it's not really about a list of things you do. It's all about a relationship with God. And so when I was 5 years old, I made that decision. And yeah, guys, I don't want to impose anything on anybody, but you know, I hope some of you guys will make that decision as well. Here we got Tropius, non-holo rare. And if you guys have any other questions about that, you know, feel free and message me on Discord. I'm an open book when it comes to this stuff. But, you know, what I say in my videos is absolutely true. God is with you wherever you go, and he's always here if you're willing to accept him and start that relationship with him. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I have to say about that. Fire energy. Let's pull some fire today. We still haven't seen an alt art. We've seen a few ultra rares here, but let's get the alt art today, guys. All right, next question. Jason, VT Sports Guy, who comments on tons of my videos. I really appreciate you, Jason. He asks, what are the best TCG sets right now to invest in? What are the best TCG cards to invest in? Love to hear about chase cards or sets. Now, I'm not quite sure if you're talking about Pokemon or just other TCGs, but I'll go the route of talking about some other TCGs because I've actually got into one recently that I found out that there's actually a Star Wars collectible cards. There's this Topps Chrome series that's actually really sweet that I'm getting into, and I feel like they may be undervalued. So that would be one. Outside of that, I haven't gone into too much more than MetaZoo, of course. You guys know I do like MetaZoo. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a general question, but hopefully that gives you at least something to go off of. I think that could be a good investment, but of course this is not investment advice because I'm not a financial advisor. But take that for what you will. Sableye, Teddiursa, Mareep the Sheep, Zorua, Hydreigon, and Hollow Florges. And man, my pile is kind of spilling over into my hollow hits over here. That's fine. I mean, we got the Hollow Moltres, which is one of the cards I would have loved to get. So the rest of them, that's fine. I don't really care about them. Kip485_YouTube asks, what's the average amount of money you make per video? And what is the most you've made for one video? Now, I did have to kind of dig into my analytics a little bit on this. I didn't quite find the exact answers to your question, but here, the best I could do is looking at my last 30 days. It does kind of tell me how much each of the best videos did, or the most profitable videos were. So on those videos, I'm making about $10 to $20 per video. But again, that's just within the last month, and some of these videos are a little bit more evergreen, and so they may continue to bring some funds in the future. Now, I did look this up. I had no idea, so appreciate you asking this question. It's good to know these things. I actually have made the most from one video. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but I made $62 from it total over the lifetime of it. And I remember what it was. It was actually the video where we went hunting for the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection, and I actually found it with my buddy Logan, and we opened it up. That was a fun time. So yeah, that's been my most profitable video so far. Pretty cool. So that was from like 9-10 months ago. So yeah, I mean, that's over the lifetime of the video, not just in the last 30 days. So hope that helps. M.M. asks, do I have any other hobbies? So I will say lately, besides Pokemon cards, maybe no, but I definitely have had other hobbies over the years. One that I've been huge into for many, many years is music. I'm actually a musician. I play the drums, definitely most proficient on the drums. Also play guitar and dabble in some other instruments, but I would say drums and guitar are the main ones. And I've definitely kept up with drums the most over the years. I do have like kind of a mini drum set in my office. However, I haven't really pulled it out and done much with it for a while. Of course, we got a baby now, so I can't be too loud. But yeah, music has been a big part of my life. I've also done music production. My wife and I actually produced an album a few years ago. I used to make beats and try and sell them to different artists. So that was actually my first kind of entrepreneurial journey, I should say. Definitely learned a lot from that experience, but didn't make a lot in the process. Yeah, a lot of my hobbies end up turning into more of a business. I've noticed that myself. Got a hollow Eldegoss. What else? Yeah, I love graphic design, and I would say that I've always tried to make money doing that. So maybe you wouldn't consider that a hobby, but I do enjoy that a lot. It's kind of like a hobby. I feel like building businesses is sort of like a hobby, but that's also kind of like an oxymoron, because is it really a hobby if you're trying to make money from it? I don't know. I guess you could argue either way. So those are some. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, this has kind of been my hobby for the last year, at least year and a half. Like, what did I do before that? Yeah, I love grabbing coffee with people. I'm an introvert, so I love having one-on-one conversations with people rather than hanging out at large gatherings. Oh, nice. All right, we finally got a full art. The Jolteon V, very nice. Okay. Man, we don't have a lot of packs left, and I'm surprised we haven't gotten more than what we've gotten, but I don't know, maybe we're on track. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ultra rares and 1 full art. Let's go ahead and move these. I'm gonna pull out our last few packs here. Man, we gotta get an alt art today, guys. I mean, that's the only reason you open this set, isn't it? That's what you're trying to get. I'm sure we have enough time for a few more questions. Yeah, here's an easy one. Alex asks, what is my age? I am 32. I literally have to think about it. I feel like eventually you get to the age where your birthdays are happening so frequently and people don't really ask you that as much as time goes on, so I sometimes have to think what year is it? Oh yeah, I'm 32. So yeah, I am a boomer. No, not really. I'm technically a millennial. Ryan Craig asked this a little bit ago on another video. He asked, what are your thoughts on base set 2 cards? As much as I would love to have base set cards, I can't justify the price and have been targeting base set 2. Most recently, price have been the same artwork minus the Pokeball 2 logo. Yep. No, I definitely understand where you're coming from. It is this, a lot of the same artwork. Of course, it also includes the jungle set in there. Yeah, I mean, base set 2 is great. I love the Galaxy Holo pattern on those cards. Personally, I'm not making it a goal for myself to collect base set 2 because it's not the original. That's kind of the reason for me. But again, if what you care about is the artwork, then I think that makes a lot of sense. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Meteor goal. Now, of course, base set unlimited technically is not even the original because there's also the first edition Shadowless. And of course, even older than that, you have the Japanese. Now, I will say I actually do plan to collect the Japanese base set at some point because I do really like Japanese cards, especially vintage Japanese cards. And I think that would be cool because, like I said, they are the original, and they, you know, they are a little bit more abundant. Personally, like I said, I would prefer to do a base set Japanese master set before I would do a base set 2 master set. But, you know, in the end, this is all for fun. It's all about what you like and your preferences, so definitely go for it. Eventually I might try and get some more base set 2 holos as well. We got holo Kyurem. Dang guys, we are on to our last 3 packs, and we still have not seen a secret rare. I really hope that we can get one of the old arts today. There's a code card. And yeah, I think that's all the questions that I had written down. Feel free and ask more in the comments below. I'll probably do another one of these if you guys have some more questions for me, but I hope you maybe learned something. Hopefully I offered some value in this video, maybe you learned something new about me. Not that you all care that much, you know, I'm just a guy on YouTube making videos. Dwebble and Gourgeist non-holo rare. Oh man, guys. It's getting down to the wire. I'll tell you, it's entirely possible that we don't get an alternate art today, because I have opened up an Evolving Skies booster box and not gotten an alternate art. We did get a gold secret rare, so we did still get a yeah, we still did get a secret rare, but that's not the one you want to get. Here we go, guys. Our second to last pack magic. Do we have it? Begone Reverse. And oh, Gilgath. Oh my word. Oh my word. This is our last pack. Wouldn't that be crazy if we got the last pack magic? That would be the ultimate last pack magic. But hey, this has been fun. Definitely an amazing set. I don't know how much more I can open of this because it's super expensive to buy this booster box, so definitely huge, and I'm really thankful that Danny Phantom was kind enough to do this giveaway and send this to me. May just have to purchase the chase cards, but there are of course so many. But here we go, guys. Oh, some fire. We really need to pull some fire right now. Let's do it. Raihan, Avalugg, Vigoroth, Lillipup, Nickit, Bergmite, Pikachu, Flabébé, Reverse, Tropius, and to end off the video, guys, we have oh yes, oh my word, that was the ultimate last pack magic. Yes, all right. Oh, guys, I really did not believe that this was gonna happen. All right, guys, we got the Sylveon alternate art. Sylveon baking the cakes. That's awesome. Well, guys, take a look at our hits today. It's definitely some pretty nice ones. We did get some evolutions. Got a nice full art. Not the most stacked box I've ever seen, but man, we still did pretty well. Of course, I've already said it in this video, but I just want to remind you guys that you are not alone. God is with you and he loves you, and so do we. Make sure you check out one of the videos on screen next if you like Pokemon card openings. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time.